Pokémon creators are hiding a dark secret about Necrozma that changes its entire story. What this legendary did was not a crime. It was self-defense against a horrific act of betrayal. You have to stick until the end to see the official document that proves Necrozma was the real victim all along. This truth will shock you. Necrozma first entered the Pokémon universe during the Sun and Moon era, but its real spotlight came in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. The creature's identity is often misunderstood, and that's where the confusion begins. Most people think Ultra Necrozma is some kind of ultimate transformation, like a final super mode reserved for the end of the journey. But the truth flips that assumption on its head. Ultra Necrozma isn't some bonus tier upgrade. It's actually the original, pure form of Necrozma itself. Sounds a little backwards, right? Let me break it down. Before everything went wrong, Necrozma existed as a radiant being overflowing with light. That brilliance was stolen by the Ultra Recon Squad, who siphoned away its energy to keep their own city, Ultra Megalopolis, alive. Basically, they turned Necrozma into their eternal power outlet, draining away its identity just so their world could shine. Because of that theft, Necrozma was left a husk of its former self, a shadow wrapped in agony. So that black, jagged form we usually see, that isn't its natural state. That's Necrozma's weakened shell, stripped bare of the light that defined it. Once you understand that, its actions make a lot more sense. Necrozma didn't start off as some cosmic villain twirling a mustache in the void. It was betrayed, imprisoned, and reduced to a shell of what it once was. Imagine having your entire soul ripped out and weaponized by others, and then getting hunted whenever you tried to reclaim it. Yeah, anyone would snap. Now, Necrozma's reputation gets shredded because of what it eventually tried to do. The crimes? Let's list the highlights. First, it attempted to consume the entirety of Ultra Space. Yes, the endless network of dimensions and parallel worlds. That alone makes Thanos look like he was just playing with toy blocks. And second, Necrozma was on the verge of unleashing every Ultra Beast into the Alola region at once. Translation: multiversal genocide on a scale that dwarfs even Aaron's rumbling from harm on Titan. Sounds unforgivable at face value. But here's where perspective matters. Was Necrozma's rage destructive? Absolutely. Was it random, senseless evil? Not really. The Ultra Recon Squad chained it down, drained away everything that made it whole, and treated it as nothing more than a power generator for their city. The Ether Foundation didn't do it any favors either. Luzman, in particular, had her own twisted obsession with Ultra Beasts and wanted to exploit Necrozma's power to summon even more of them. At no point did these groups ever consider the Pokémon's pain or its right to exist free from manipulation. That's what makes the encounters with the player characters, Sun and Moon, so special. Unlike the Recon Squad or Luzman, they didn't see Necrozma as a tool. They confronted it, yes, but they also gave it something no one else bothered to, which is empathy. After the climactic battle, the protagonists didn't imprison Necrozma or chain it back up. Instead, they offered it light, literally sharing the energy it needed to restore itself. For the first time in who knows how long, Necrozma wasn't just used. It was healed. And yet, the tragedy doesn't end there. Because if you flip over to the Pokémon manga, things take a much darker turn. In that version of the story, Necrozma still lashes out, still drains Solgaleo and Lunala, and still pushes Alola to the brink. But instead of a chance at redemption, the manga team went for brutal finality. Zygarde, Solgaleo, Lunala, and the human characters didn't attempt to save Necrozma. They outright destroyed it. Gone. Erased. No redemption arc, no hopeful reunion, just a massacre. One panel and it's over. And while Zygarde being the Order Pokémon, it makes sense. It was never going to let reality-bending destruction slide. The fact that Sun and Moon in the manga joined in without hesitation? That was shocking. Their game counterparts offered compassion, while their manga versions swung the executioner's blade. That split really shows how differently the same heroes can be written across media. So was Necrozma doomed either way? Maybe. But even so, the difference between let's try to help this broken being and let's erase him from existence says a lot about how much storytelling tone can shift. The manga Necrozma never got the chance to recover. Its legacy there is just darkness, rampage, and an abrupt death. And here's where the empathy factor kicks in. Picture yourself as Necrozma. You're born a being of infinite light. You shine brighter than anything else in existence. You're not causing trouble, just existing in your own brilliance. Then one day, Humans approach you with promises of trust. Instead, they trap you, harvest everything you are, and leave you as a hollow shell. Every attempt you make to recover what's yours is met with resistance, fear, and violence. Can you really say you'd stay calm? Wouldn't you rage against the ones who turned you into a monster? That's why Necrozma isn't just another evil legendary. It's a tragic figure. Its rampages weren't born from ambition, but from agony. Its crimes weren't planned schemes, but desperate lashes from a creature robbed of its essence. And even when it fell, there was still a sliver of hope in one version of the story: the protagonists who chose to share their light instead of chaining it again. What makes Necrozma stand out compared to modern legendaries is that it has a story. It isn't just big, powerful Pokémon at the end of the game. It's layered, it's scarred, it's heartbreaking. That's why it belongs in the same conversation as other great tragic legendaries like Mutwo, Genesect, and Zygarde. All of them were betrayed or manipulated. All of them reflect what happens when humans abuse power. And all of them resonate because they feel more alive than just stat sticks with flashy moves. Lately, Pokémon has struggled to give that same kind of depth to its new mythicals. Too often, they're designed as cool companions or prize bosses, but without that emotional punch. That's why Necrozma's lore hits so differently. It reminds us that even the brightest beings can be shattered, and that sometimes villains are really just victims of circumstance. So no, Necrozma wasn't flawless. Its anger nearly destroyed infinite worlds. But its tragedy is that it never set out to be evil. Its tragedy is that its light was stolen, its form was broken, and its final choices came from pain rather than malice. And if you ask me, that makes its story one of the saddest and most human in the entire series. Do you think Necrozma's rage was fair retribution or reckless destruction? Was it a tragic god striking back against betrayal, or a menace too dangerous to excuse? Which version of its fate, the games or the manga, feels truer to you? Share your verdict in the comments, and let's keep this debate alive. And don't forget to subscribe for more Pokémon lore breakdowns.